Greetings and salutations, Horizon Esports viewers. I'm the MadBag, a new recruit to your fine channel, and this is Starcraft 2 Wings of Liberty. I'm going to bring you a first-person game of me playing a ladder 1 vs 1 match. I play Protoss on this account, however note that I do have a second account that I play, sometimes random, sometimes race pick Terran. This is Diamond. I expect that I'll probably play a Diamond, although we'll take a look here right before I actually get into the game. And note that this game was recorded without my commentary. I played it while not talking, while being silent and focusing, and I am now adding my commentary after the fact. So let's take a quick glance at the two players that are going to be in this bout. First, of course, your reigning champion, the MadBag. This is me. Hello, my name is Jake. I am Diamond most everywhere except for 3 vs 3. I got very lucky and got placed into Masters, and 3 vs 3 are very, very, very rough for me. I'm somewhere along the ladder. Don't have a whole lot of wins. Don't have a whole lot of games played, honestly. I've been making a lot of Skyrim content lately. My opponent is also Diamond, a Zerg player who has quite a bit more games played than me, at least recently in this last season. I have not played much this last season. I have not played much since November. So one more note before I get into this game. I do have a separate channel. It is under MadBagGamer YouTube. I'm sure there's a link to it in the description. And my channel is focused on Skyrim content. However, I do occasionally put out, and maybe more than occasionally recently, it's been weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, I put out a Starcraft 2 video. And eventually, when I feel like I've covered everything of Skyrim, I'll focus in a little bit more on this Starcraft 2 content. So hopefully my channel will be a good source of Starcraft 2. I don't want to say high level because Diamond is definitely not Masters. There is a divide. It is mostly tellable. I see some people on YouTube that are Masters that I'm just like, what? How is that so? Anyway, most of the content on my channel right now is Skyrim. More Starcraft 2 will ensue. Let's get right down to business. Dice versus the MadBag. A Protoss versus Zerg. On Antigua Shipyard, nonetheless. Let us split! Single probe split. Had one go off a little there. Could have been a little bit more ideal. Let's watch this second carry. 4 probes return a second time. You have enough for your second worker to queue him. It looks like it was about dead on. There's not normally a big delay there anyway, but I always like to see if pros have 0 gap in the time between their finishing constructing the first probe and their beginning constructing the second. So you see me send the 8th rallied probe down to my natural. This is to indicate a forge fast expand. This is my standard in Protoss vs Zerg. Might be able to argue that this is the standard in Protoss vs Zerg. However, I happen to know that there's a lot of not this in the lower leagues. There's a lot of one-base play in the lower leagues. That's what I'm going to do though. Diamond, I would say it's a standard in Diamond. I would even say it's a standard in Platinum. There's probably a lot of gold people that do this. It can be a solid build, and basically anything for Protoss that works on one base will also work with this 2-base thing, just because of the way the Zerg normally times his economy against yours. You can still pull off a 4-gate. It does come later, however, you're normally 4-gating against a 3-basing Zerg instead of against a 2-basing Zerg. And you can do other things as well. You can do more powerful variations of that, like a 6-gate or even the absolute balls-to-the-wall 8-gate. Those are quite a bit more invested, though. Invested in that early damage and doing it. I've got that guy on a patrol around the Zerg's natural to try to block the hatchery. Normally around 2:15 is when they'd want to plant their 15 hatch at their natural. However, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that. He probably already threw down a pool. He probably threw down a pool right as soon as he saw my probe show up. If he's smart, he did. And if he throws down that pool, then the hatch is going to be delayed till about 3:15. But I may go up there and check. I may just stay patrolling to make sure he doesn't just wait a little bit and get it. That patrol wasn't ideal either. If you can get it in kind of a, let's see, obtuse angled box. So not necessarily a box, but maybe like a pentagram. 5 sides, you know, try to keep the angles above 90 degrees. A 90-degree angle will let a worker that's following you gain on you quite a bit and potentially get an attack off. And then anytime your worker's under attack, you generally want to go kind of micro him, kind of make sure he's not getting killed. So there I block. I end up saving both my workers, the worker that I was battling with on my side of the map and his. And I block with a pylon that I can cancel. You'll see me number that pylon, I think 1. 1? No, I just cancel it. I just canceled it, and it got me right back up to the 400 to put down my Nexus. And now you see that on Antigua Shipyard, a forge and a gateway perfectly space your ramp from your Nexus. So there is no gap between that forge and that gateway. And I've got a cannon behind. Now if Zerglings want to come in, they have to run around the south end of my Nexus to come in. And then they have to run past a cannon and still in. Here in a second I'm going to choke that up a little bit more. Won't necessarily protect my natural mineral line more, but I'm not real worried about that. Right now I am kind of worried about like maybe 6 or 8 lings coming in and running by my cannon anyway, just because they could probably take losses and still get in. You'll notice I did some hiccuping of probes here too. I wasn't building probes constantly throughout that. A lot of times, to make sure you don't die to early game Zerg timings, if he's doing a skew, you kind of have to cut probes in certain times and just make sure you have certain safeties in order, like that cannon. And a lot of times it's good to get that gateway up fast because it'll eventually make my 4-gate timing a little faster, and it will allow me to do some obnoxious little stuff like this Zealot and 2 Zealot pressure. Second that Zealot spawned, I put him on an attack command so he doesn't move into the enemy, and thank you God I did, because he moves into the enemy. A little bit of cute micro from him. That's good. He ended up getting more damage on me for that, however. Didn't end up saving him. He only had 3 lings and against a Zealot. Generally, you can use 4 lings against a Zealot, and you can kill the Zealot without taking any losses, but you have to micro lings back. Can be annoying in the early game. So now my core's up, my research is going. I put 1 boost on it, but not another. I've been boosting probes pretty hard because I'm trying to get this nice little platform for a timing that I'm going to abuse. I'm going to whip down. Oh, and I don't have the energy for another chrono boost, though I'm trying my heart out. I'm going to throw down about 4 gates. And I'm even going to put this last one in kind of a clever spot down at the bottom. And I'm going to try to put on a lot of pressure early to, if I can deny the third, that would be amazing. If I can just keep him from droning, that would be pretty good. This gate could have been in a better position. You see me struggling with it a little bit there. Note that, ooh, some cute micro. Some cute micro die, Zerglings die. Note that gas kind of can't be obstructed. Like if you build a wall, it'll be obstructed, but if you put a building like right between your gas and your Nexus, a lot of times, depending, it won't make them take any longer to mine. They'll kind of slide right around it and still mine just as quickly. So that's what I'm hoping for there. I'm not sure if I got it perfect. And I tell you what, those 2 Zealots, I wish I could have clicked on kills. I saw the back one had 3 kills there. I really wish I could have seen that front one. Those 2 Zealots were worth their weight in gold minerals. They did so much damage. They mainly caused a bunch of lings, forced a bunch of lings, got him to pull off mining a little bit. That's kind of minor. So my research, I think, just finished. I've got 4 gates. They're going up. Unfortunately, I don't have good proxy pylon timing, but it ends up being okay. He makes what I'm going to go ahead and be brazen about and call a mistake. He makes a mistake, and he wants to put the pressure on. I kind of like this in that this pressure that he's getting ready to put on me will let him get a 3rd up. It will defend a 3rd. However, it won't leave him terribly well droned for the follow-up. And I got warp ends in a decent place, although they could have been better. Again, right there I failed in getting them in a perfect position to wall off. He ended up getting a surround around a couple stalkers, and that takes them down extremely fast. If I can keep my probes over next to the cannon, I'm pretty sure I can keep him from getting in my base, but I really don't want to lose all the structures that I've got on that south end of my base, so I'm going to have to use warp ends to deal with this. Sometimes you can deal with this real well by putting a 2nd cannon kind of south of your Nexus, or maybe even just even with your Nexus so that it ranges across that south end. So I'm going to try to get my resources back in order, keep the probes coming, but not chrono boost anymore. And now I'm going to do this 4-gate pressure. I do have a proxy pylon from that probe that I sent out. It's on the high ground in the main on the other side of his base so that I can warp in on the low ground. And that's a nice location real close to his base. I'm whipping out mainly sentries here for 2 reasons. I have a lot of gas, and sentries are going to help me a lot against just Zerglings. And since he's invested so much in Zerglings so far attacking me, I figure he's probably going to be staying on Zergling tech. If not, he could be getting roaches up right now. If he's going muta, he definitely wouldn't be. If he is getting roaches up, there's a possibility I can still at least break even with him. And you see I am setting up my 3rd, so this is not necessarily an all-in. I did skew towards it with some worker cuts in the beginning to really make it more powerful. So in that regard, I don't know, similarities to an all-in maybe. Using a little bit of cheese here, the force field's on the ramp, but come on, it's a big ramp. I've got to expend 2 force fields. That's costly. And I am getting great damage down on him. I killed a queen, I killed a spine crawler. More force fields allow me to kill a lot of drones here. He's smart, he attacks with them for just a second, but unfortunately he did not have enough lings spawning, even though more are coming in. And it's just all too much for him. There's just too many zealots there. The couple force fields made my forces just efficient enough, and he splits the game. What a fun little bit of chaos. Oh, and look at this. He technically had a higher score than me. Boy, I bet he's going to be angry looking at some of these breakdowns. Twice the workers. I got out just enough to do my platform, and I wasn't building workers basically throughout that entire attack. I was teching a bit. Didn't quite have his resource collection rate, but by the number of workers he had built, I had stopped a lot of his mining, and I wasn't spending my resources nearly as well as he was. Killed way too many units. That's the story of Protoss versus Zerg. So here we go. This is interesting. The army value. He got those lings up early enough to come over and sit out in front of my base before I got that zealot up. Of course, right in this area I was putting a cannon down. So if you count the cannon as forces on the map, this looks a little bit more even. Those two zealots, it looks like, made him create a lot of Zerglings. We'll see this in the replay in just a second. But I stayed on those two zealots until way later, where, let's see, I think this is losing both zealots, warping in 4 units, losing a lot of those 4 units, but barely defending, killing a lot of his Zerglings. And then here's where my 4-gate aggression started. 1 warp in, a little bit of time while we were fighting, another warp in. And this won't really tell us much, but it tells us that he was starting to dip into 3 base. Right here especially, right there at the very end when he had drones on that 3rd base, his economy was getting really dangerous for me. And if it would have went on, we would have seen my spike here when my 3rd started coming up and I chrono boosted probes out of 3 nexuses. Into the replay! Let's take a look at some things he and I could have done better. So, I'm not going to hide the replay timer. You guys just saw the match. There's no need to worry about a spoiler. Looks like he's going to scout up top first. Let's go ahead and boost through a little bit of this early stage here. I don't want to go quite to ×8 because I do specifically want to see when he throws his pull down. As a matter of fact, I'll go up to 6 real quick, or 8 I guess, until I see my probe coming in. So here I'm doing my little probe bits. He's going to pull off and probably go pull immediately. Generally when you see the probe, you know that you're not going to get it out. Especially he's sitting here staring at me. He's watching my probe go in a little circle with his overlord. There goes the pull. So it looks like he did a 14 pull. Normal timing for a pull. And that's going to delay his his hatchery out until about 3 minutes, if he doesn't get gas. If he gets gas, it may delay it even further. Of course, these are the bits that you guys all saw, as I was watching very closely while I was playing. And let's go ahead and get it back into gear here. The next interesting thing that happens is my zealot pressure, and I just want to see, he gets 4 lings to begin with. That's a decent amount with the pylon. He could have... Ooh, he takes the 3rd very quickly. Very, very fast 3rd. And that's part of what helps these zealots do decent. And note also, that's going to hinder... well, maybe not. I was going to say it's going to hinder how many drones he can get out. But it looks like he's got plenty of money for that. My first zealot goes over. He makes just a few lings. No, he hasn't made any more lings yet. He did put a spine crawler down instantly because of this zealot. And he's got the 2 queens. He's up already to 20 drones. It's a little bit behind me. He is making more lings now. He just popped 5. That makes a total of 7. That is real close. It's kind of interesting that this happened twice. So he came up against, because he was scouting, because he took this ling out of the first pack of 4, he came up against 1 zealot with 3 lings, and the 1 zealot killed all 3 of them. And a matter of fact, he doesn't kill another single ling throughout this engagement. This guy steals all of them. So now, after having had 1 zealot alive, I get 7 more. Again, not quite enough to kill both of them, if you figure 4 lings kills 1 zealot. So again, he's in a situation, and one of his 7 lings is even up there, so it gets really gross. Yeah, this guy's already killed 6 lings. I don't think... Did I get a drone? I don't recall. I don't think I did get a drone. 7 kills. I think he goes up to 4? No? 9. 10 kills. I think he might have got 11. There was an 11th one there, one way or the other. So now let's count some stuff. I'm still staying just a couple workers ahead of him. This is a critical period, and oh my god, look at those Zerglings. He knows, that's why he pressured. He knows that he overbuilt Zerglings, and he has to use them. This is messy because he didn't go a gas early, so he doesn't have speed, and he's just gonna have to do something with slow lings. He made way too many of them to not do damage to me, and so he has to try. And honestly, this is pretty close because of how I mismicro this. So as he's coming in, it looks like he did this really well. You want to try to give move commands past. You want to just do a simple right click, try to get past this, and if you can, you want to squeeze these Zerglings up through this little area to get the surround on these Stalkers. And with me, I want to be grabbing just my Stalkers right now. If the Zealot gets out there and gets surrounded, he will still make his money's worth out of killing Lings. I want to take just the Stalkers and give them move commands back, and then I want to try to hold position in this choke. Right now I have a wall all except for this one little square here. So I try to do that with a couple Stalkers, but I mismanage. I take them too far out. That guy, if I could have stopped a little earlier, would have been ideal. So I give him just enough space to still stretch through. Luckily, a couple go too far and get killed by the cannon for free. And then the rest kind of get choked up. That ended up being good, although I know that wasn't due to my micro. That was happenstance. I could have microed that quite a lot better. And he did get around to drones there. Okay, so here's the beginning of the end. He didn't get enough drones early and built a lot of Lings, and he knows that. He knew he had to do pressure with the Lings, and he did, and it didn't really pan out. If I'm not aggressive, the only way he can step back into this game is by making a huge pack of drones. However, the danger of this is that now he has done the opposite mistake. He has over-droned. Now he has too many drones, and he's making 7 more right as I'm approaching. Oh, what a critical mistake. He's figuring I'm not going to do this pressure, although he should have seen this gateway finished during that. I did the warp in before he even got here. That's a pretty quick research. Matter of fact, let me just jump back real quick to it. I want to say it was just after 7 minutes. Maybe just, yeah, it was a little ways after 7 minutes. Not quite 8. We go to 8? Maybe not. Let's just boost a little. Whoop. So 7:30, and I can be turning these in. It looks like I'm a little slow on a couple things. I want to say like 8 to 8:30, maybe even 9 sometimes. If I'm going a tech-heavy route, or if I'm doing like any kind of Colossus, or especially any kind of Stargate play, this is going to be way delayed. Just seeing this, he should know. Seeing that it's done by 8 minutes when I'm getting in there, and a warp in's already occurred, he should know that there's some pressure coming. Now let's jump back to the front real fast. And man, that drone count. This would have carried him great into the mid-game if I didn't pressure. If I sat back and teched, he could have got a nice platform up to do whatever he wanted. Alright, now here is the next little bit. So, he does good to pull back to begin with. Because he knows the force fields, he's not going to be able to do anything with it. With them down, he should try to run now, although you see what happens when he eventually does try to run. He comes here, they get kind of bunched up, and I force field just right to keep him there. Maybe pull him back, I don't know. Really, after having over-droned so hard, maybe throwing out like 4 spine crawlers, or maybe just 3 spine crawlers, because he spent a lot of money building Zerglings, might have kept him in this, might have saved his bum. It's a good idea to get the macro hatch, obviously, because he's going to have so many drones. But, it looks like it didn't quite pan out. He's getting speed. It's a little late. He's not spending his gas in the research. A couple things just misappropriated, and I can say the same. I've got 1,000 gas. That's obscene. This was a little bit high pressure for that early. Normally that Ling pressure that comes in, that threw me way off. That normally does not happen. And I'm starting to throw down the production to actually spend this anyway. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm late on throwing down my robo. That was my intended idea, to stack on top of this 4-gate. Alright, well, there's a pretty simple game. It was real quick, I know, real simple. Some early pressure back. One thing led to another, and before you know it, we have no technology against no technology, and guess what? Tier 1 Protoss units are really good, especially once you can get a little production under your feet for it. So, thanks for watching. If you guys are interested in Starcraft content, or maybe just interested in me in general, then come check out my channel, MadBagGamer, and look out, even if you aren't, on Horizon Esports channel for more from me in the near future. Thanks, goodbye.